not after buffing movement to give the game more depth. They want to make it more simplified. So you buff a health sweep. It's they have a different approach. Obviously.
You're absolutely right. It seems like the thrust behind the balancing isn't how can we make this character more interesting? How can we make this a better game? No. It seems to be how can we make this game easier? How can we make it more marketable?
Low level player. Yeah, exactly.
And it's exacerbated by the lack of transparency behind these balance changes, because what you get is like, well, here are some patch notes. Sometimes they're in wingdings. And what is the idea? What is the train of thought behind these balance changes? I mean, I brought this up on Twitter, but from Season 3 in Killer Instincts, and I always bring up Killer Instinct because it's such a good example for fighting games in so many ways, but they gave players reasoning behind the balance changes. Like, this is what we're going for with this character. They were even accompanied by videos. Tekken needs to start, not just Tekken, any fighting game needs to start doing this, because it just seems like Bandai Namco sitting atop this ivory tower, just making changes that seem arbitrary, and it pisses the community off. And if you compare where we are today to season 2 Rangchu winning TW2, or even 6 months ago, or even 3 months ago, TW2 finals in Thailand, it's like night and day. Like, the reception of the community, it's soured immensely because of a few key missteps. There was Leroy, there was the frame data debacle, and now I don't think people would have been as pissed off about this whole hell sweep thing if it wasn't preceded by other questionable decisions.
I think Leroy was the big turning point in terms of community versus development.
That's when they lost trust.
Because Leroy was an enormous fuck up. It really was. Can't understand.
It's the fact they had a patch ready to nerf them when they released them. I think that's when people lost trust in them.
That's when it became so obvious that even the people who because I made a video about it 2 days ago where I talked about that, and I still have people calling because, like you said, I was so vocal about Leroy because I was genuinely disgusted. Not because what it was doing to the game, because I felt like the people who watch our videos, who we create for, were being spoken down to and used by this corporation, which is why I got upset. But when those nerfs came out and had a date on them, it's so obviously it's proof, right? So you can't really deny it anymore at that point.
And the fact that goes down. So funny.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny is that the patch that was that we saw was actually going to be released before Leroy's even released. Those notes didn't even go over a lot of his dumb moves. So it's did they even truly know how stupid the character was themselves? Did they know what to nerf, or was it really just down to the community outlining it to say, okay, this move's dumb, that one's dumb? I don't know. It just seemed like such a lack of understanding, man. From my point,
must have known. Mishima Star is no idiot. And looking at down 1+2, neutral, forces crouch, hits across the stage, counter hit launcher, tracks to one side. It's like you have to be a 2-week Tekken player to fail to see that this is just the best fucking attack in the game. And he has 50 of those. So it's come on, they knew.
It's if they want more people watching tournaments, then it would make sense to introduce a lot more character diversity into the tournaments. So that will include buffing the low tiers, nerfing the top tiers a little bit, maybe leave the middle tier a bit longer, maybe tiny bit buffs or whatever.
Yeah.
More characters in tournaments, more people watching, more interesting experience. For example, in Season 1, when John Ding used Chloe, no one played Chloe in tournaments. So when John Ding plays Chloe in tournaments, everyone gets hype in the chat. It's a Chloe player. A relatively low tier character playing against maybe a Devil Jin or whoever was dragging off Shark, blah blah blah. It was cool. It was sick. Chloe's on the top 8 of a major tournament.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then
there's just
what happened since
Sorry.
So that was my point. Yeah, they need to introduce more character diversity.
Yeah, but
by making changes to the lower tier characters.
Yeah, but there's definitely bias in the balancing team. I mean, Devil Jin and Steve, it's how do you explain that? Always S tier, always S tier. It's a Devil Jin. For Tekken 7, let's give him follow-up guaranteed back 4 after upward 4.
That was yeah.
Yeah, that was silly.
It's
I think the solution is quite simple, and it goes down back to what Arslan said, in that competitively, I'm talking competitively now, is to buff characters' real fundamental pokes, and that's not going to have any consequences for the for the lower level to intermediates, but it'll have a huge impact on the high level. Like Arslan said many times that he feels like Nina's down forward one needs to be buffed, and these are changes that are not going to make a massive difference to the intermediate to low level, not going to make their experience any worse. But buffing these small pokes, like you said as well, Mihawk, like maybe a little bit better backdash and sidestep from for the Mishimas, I don't know, just these small changes, I think, to fundamental moves, to the fundamental moves will make a big difference. And like Fergus said, when you watch someone like John Ding, his Chloe, and how he was able to beat people like Jimmy J Tran in season 1 tournaments with that character. He just used her down forward one, her low pokes, her jab strings, and her running 3 so well to create pressure. Timing was such a big thing, and you buff these little fundamental things like down forward one, is no one's going to complain, no one's going to cry, but the high level we're going to start seeing different characters represented, I feel.